Welcome, greetings to everyone. I'd like to welcome all of you to Social Media Watercooler. My name is Pierre Coupet, and I am the founder and host of Social Media Watercooler. Thank you for being here and for being a part of this social media experience and experiment. Before we get started, I want to give you a very brief overview of today's informal agenda. First and foremost, we have no guests scheduled for today's event. Therefore, I will be the only one presenting today. We do, however, have a showcase presentation of artist videos on the right side of your screen that you can view at your own leisure at any time after this presentation. Therefore, if you are an artist, singer, poet, actor, film producer, whether you are established or not, famous or not, recognized or not, published or not, that's not a requirement. Just go ahead and send us the link to a YouTube art, music, poem, or movie trailer video, which you own the rights to. That's very important. And we will go ahead and include it in the showcase during one or more of our events. Second, with respect to today's presentation, I will continue going over the final group of VOMI virtual organization projects that we've discussed previously in more details, and then we'll go ahead and wrap things up as far as VOMI projects are concerned, and begin to invite other guests for all future social media water cooler events. With respect to the format that we have in place for all future events, please refer to the recorded videos of our first two events. So that's event one and two. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and proceed from where I left off at last week's event and begin with a detailed overview of VOMI Virtual Organization World Projects, starting with project number 10. All right, we want to talk about virtual community college campuses, which is project number 10, as far as a blueprint for that. And we're also willing to work in the capacity of project advisor. So actually not also willing, we are only willing to work in the capacity of project advisor. And with respect to project number 10, virtual community college campuses, let's go ahead and talk about project 11, which is virtual college campuses blueprint project, and project number 12, which is virtual university campuses blueprint project. So with respect to all three of these projects, because the information I am about to provide to you will be pretty much the same. So I thought I'd let you know in advance. All right. It, you will probably be surprised to find out that as we speak today, there are no virtual community colleges anywhere in the world. I know I know what you're thinking, but I am going to address that in a second. There are not only no virtual community college campuses, but also there are no virtual college campuses, and there are no virtual university campuses anywhere in the world. What we do, however, have are online colleges, online learning centers, but no virtual community college campuses. So that's important. And once I get a chance to start going over what an actual virtual campus is, then you'll understand what I mean. So let me go ahead and get you off the suspense wagon and go ahead and start uh, giving you a description of what a virtual campus looks like. You will recall that last week we talked about virtual campus dormitories. We went into great detail over what they consist of, you know, whereby not only all classes are conducted, you have a campus whereby not only faculty lives on campus, students live on campus, and but there are no formal classrooms, but all the teachers teach from their residence, and the students learn, participate in classes from their residence. So, in a sense, okay, it's almost the same. So, let's go over that a little more. Students, so all classes are conducted online in a 100% virtual environment. Students and faculty, okay, will not be required, okay, to live on campus in order to attend school or teach classes online. However, okay, students and faculty will have the option to live on campus if they so prefer, subject, of course, to space availability. However, that being said, neither instructors nor students will be able to come to the campus strictly for the purpose of attending classes or teaching, and then only to return to their respective residence. So the basic virtual infrastructure architecture will be similar to virtual campus dormitories in the sense that students who prefer to come to the college or university campus or prefer to live there, okay, they will be required to live on campus and attend classes online directly from a soundproof virtual sanctuary room in their dormitory room. Now, with respect to the curriculum, just as every educational institution of higher learning mandates the inclusion of general education courses in the curriculum for graduation, so will the virtual organization management discipline be included. That's very important. Let's uh, let's see what else, what additional requirement that we're talking about. But every publicly funded college and university student who has neither previously graduated from a virtual campus dormitory or graduated from a training program at Virtual Organization Management Institute, nor received the Virtual Organization Executive designation from VMI Virtual Organization Academy. So will be required to participate in a 90-day virtual organization sabbatical program offered at their educational institution in partnership with VMI Virtual Organization Academy. So here we have something that sounds like, okay, it may be counterintuitive. It may sound like a paradox. Okay? May sound like a bit of an irony, but in order for you, okay, to have a virtual campus dormitory, I'm sorry, a virtual university, You must have a physical location where both students and faculty, in fact, okay, reside. But the training, okay, will not be conducted. The instruction will not be conducted, okay, in any sort of classrooms. It will be conducted directly from both teacher and students, the students' primary dormitory residence, and that's it. In this case, not dormitory, but uh, from the from their residence, okay, on campus. That's it. All right. So as it stands today, there is no such animal anywhere in the world. So we're looking to advise or serve as project advisor to any community college, any actual four-year college, or any universities who who would like to learn more about that, who would like to implement something of that nature. And that is that. So that applies to both project number 10, virtual community college campuses, and we can share the blueprint with them. It also applies to virtual college campuses, and it also applies to virtual university campuses. So let's proceed. So that's project 10, 11, and 12. So why don't we go ahead and proceed to project number 13. That is the blueprint for conversion of shopping malls and retail department stores, in those shopping malls, of course, into entertainment and social experience centers. We are willing, we're looking to serve as either a developer only from a pilot project standpoint, or co-developer, again, only in a pilot project standpoint. At the onset, we're not looking to get into the real estate development business or into shopping mall development at all, or as strictly as a project advisor. Again, we are willing to collaborate with partners as a joint venture, and we're open to sponsors and investor funded. So why don't I go ahead and ask you to sit back and enjoy the ride while I take you on an exciting tour of what I'm talking about. So let's go over, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with you and show you the original article, okay, that I prepared back in 2011, January of 2011, regarding that very same project, conversion of shopping malls and retail department stores in a virtual organization world. Hold on for a few seconds. See what we have here. All right, here we go. All right. So this article was written on January the 4th, 2011. You can always refer back to it by going to virtualorganization.net and just do a quick search by putting vision of retail department stores, any keywords, any related keywords, and you'll be able to find it. In any case, once upon a time, back in the 60s, going to the mall used to be a nice social occasion. It's almost like going to church in the sense that they even had a dress code. Some stores, if you walked in with sandals on, they tell you to go home. And a lot of people would feel uncomfortable walking in a mall, or with sandals on and shorts. And some stores even had signs stating no shorts or sandals allowed. And we reserve the right to refuse service to anyone. That seems like 1,000 years ago. Well, in any case, back then, going to the shopping mall, the big retail department stores was a necessity. And there was a certain amount of decorum, that was attached to that. And it had more to do with the novelty aspect of it than anything else. Of course, there was no such thing as the internet. And that's for those of you who are too young to know. And of course, we could not even imagine that such a thing was possible outside of Star Trek. So why don't we go ahead and do a little quick forward here. Today, it's no longer necessary for us to, today we don't have a need really for retail department stores. We only go to department stores really out of habit, because everything that we want, we can order online, practically. So going to the store is really more, going to the shopping mall, it's really more like a social occasion. It's just another reason to get out of the house, to go do something, socialize. That's really all that it involves. So why don't we talk about what my vision is in terms of what we can do in let me give you a snapshot of my vision of retail department stores and shopping malls in the new virtual organization world. With respect to large retail stores such as Macy's, Bloomingdale, Neiman Marcus, etc., they will eventually want to convert their stores to major entertainment venues and social experience centers, whereby their customers would come by primarily for entertainment, to socialize, and then to do some online shopping on impulse. So instead of having a ton of clothing racks on the floor, you would have several areas with special tables that are equipped with built-in damage-proof PC tablets that are connected to the internet. And in the center of each area, at a fashion show, you would have a runway for the store's branded fashion models. So you can just imagine, when you step into a Macy's, so you have the center of this wide area, none of these racks, that you see on the floor right now. But you would be able to see in the center. It's like going to a fashion show. You have a runway, for the store's fashion models. So you have Macy's models, Saks, Fifth Avenue supermodels, Bloomingdale's, etc. And they would be out there exhibiting their latest lines of clothing and accessories during opening hours. Now, just as each NFL football team has their own cheerleading team, so would each major retail department store location have their own team of models. So imagine, for example, Macy's Thousand Oaks models or Macy's Thousand Oaks supermodels, and you're having several local DJs. You could use the Macy's supermodels for major monthly luxury sale events, accompanied by all the fanfare, okay, that comes with it. And to really get both customers and employees excited and all fired up about this conversion, you can even see, for example, Macy's having, for example, the launch of an annual Macy's model or Macy's supermodels, fashion contest, whereby all the models from all the various stores, okay, will be competing for the Macy's Supermodel of the Year contest, and it could even be get televised nationally or streamed worldwide, via the internet. Imagine the sort of publicity bonanza that would be priceless. So, from the standpoint of the retail department stores, just imagine, this is so basically people when people come to town, when people come to the mall, they're actually going to a fashion show, more or less. So they would be coming there primarily for entertainment. And there are a lot of other things that you could do, to keep the people engaged, obviously. Now, you'd also have, instead of just retail associates, you'd have what you call, okay, a number of social experience hostesses, social experience associates, social media associates, and virtual support associates. And all of them are basically working on site at the store location, but as well as they would also be interfacing with a lot of with their virtual equivalents, okay, who would be working online in a 100% virtual environment. Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about what our social experience hostesses would be doing. They would be providing general information to customers regarding the social experience center, seating selection when people come in, ordering beverages, okay, and snacks, catering service. And they'd be involved primarily with store appearance, and also with the store appearance. With respect to social experience associates, they would assist with event ticketing and reservation information, sales, distribution, and supervision of a limited amount of inventory that's for fitting purposes only. So when you come to Macy's, okay, for example, you won't be coming into Macy's, to buy, to walk around all over the place, picking up things, dropping them off, and so on. So your social experience associate would be dealing with not only event ticketing, reservation information, and some sales, but supervision of a limited amount of inventory for people to try on. Basically, that's it. Of course, they just saw something. They just saw this fashion show, and they're excited, and they want to buy, right away. And so they may want to go ahead and try out a particular outfit and so on. Also, the social experience associate would supervise and maintain, okay, the fitting rooms. With respect to merchandise return, they would handle some of that, even though most of it, okay, would be handled online. Just as right now, if you order something from QVC, to return it, there's no physical location for you. You just return the darn thing to the mail, and that's done, almost flawlessly. It doesn't require any special support. All right, so customer support and any other miscellaneous things. With respect to social media associates, they would be in charge, okay, of doing the filming, the digital filming and streaming, okay, of the various modeling events on a daily basis. Okay, they want to stream that on the internet, and maintain the local on-site and virtual digital media center. So you would have each major store, okay, would have basically, a virtual digital media center on location. As for the virtual support associates, the virtual support associate would deal with all internet related and virtual customer support. Now, what are the benefits, okay, for retail department stores in a virtual organization environment? The sort of environment that I am proposing. Once you combine the entertainment and social experience component, okay, with a stronger focus on online sales and support, each store could drastically reduce the amount of square footage that they currently occupy, anywhere from one half, okay, to maybe even from 50% to even a two-thirds decrease. And of course, all the related overhead, that go along with that. And yet, they would be able to not only maintain, but also sharply increase, okay, their sales. So since retail has a very thin profit margin already, then that would allow them to generate a substantial and noticeable increase, okay, in their bottom line. And there are a lot of reasons why the profit margin, okay, in retail is very thin or very slim. Number one, primarily due to shortages, theft at the local store level, theft not only from employees, but theft, okay, from customers. So fraud can be drastically reduced. Shortages, can be drastically reduced, okay, in a virtual environment. With respect to what other benefits can you gain from that sort of environment? You'd have a highly flexible workforce. A lot of the store managers or group sales managers, they could work online in a 100% virtual environment, at least 2 or 3 days out of the week. Or they could actually alternate, between working on site, okay, and online on a weekly basis. And when they are working online, they can still be available on site at a moment's notice, because for most of them, okay, they actually live in the local area. That's in case of an emergency. So you would have an entire generation, okay, of social experience associates and virtual support associates who could potentially be available around the clock, working strictly in a 100% virtual environment. That's only with respect to these social experience associates. Because we did talk about a different categories of workers. So we have social experience associates, social media associates, and virtual support associates, and so on, and social experience hostesses. But forget about the labeling, the labels that we're attaching. Just think of the big picture. The name could be different. Let's go ahead a little more. Let's continue. The local store, for example, would be almost immune to any sort of major disaster. and other acts of God in nature. Why? That's because the labor force, okay, can operate almost exclusively in a 100% environment. Think of this a little bit. When you go online right now, let's say you go to your local bank, you have someone who is monitoring. The minute you get on board, bam, you have this little chat window that pops up and says, "Do you need help?" It's as if, okay, you had just walked inside a bank, okay, and then somebody asks you, "Can I help you? Do you have any question? Can I assist you?" Now, the only difference is that, you could actually offer, okay, a nice friendly face. Okay. Now you do have video, by the way, video chat. We even have that exact capability. Now it's not just a chat feature, okay, just type in. We can actually speak to someone, and we can actually see a video, have a video conversation going on. So you're really not missing out, okay, on anything. The technology allows you to do that. So you could actually train all your new employees. Okay. They're not dealing with cash. They're not dealing with money at all. They're not dealing with your inventories. There are a lot of things that they're no longer doing. That now, okay, it's more. A lot of your associates, a lot of them would be using a customer support capability, and they would be working online. So if anything were to happen to your stores, okay, nothing stops because they're already well trained on how to operate in a 100% virtual organization environment. Which brings us to another subject, which is, where do they receive that training? Obviously, VMI, okay, would provide, okay, that sort of training on how to operate in a 100% virtual organization environment. So it's not just getting online and so on. There's much more to it than that. But once your managers and associates have been trained on how to operate in a 100% virtual organization environment, anything could happen to that store. You could care less. The only thing that you would be missing out is providing the entertainment. That's it. And that's the difference. But there's also another benefit to that. You get to deepen your local connections and relationships. Now, that would be a very win-win opportunity to partner, okay, with all members of the local community. Just think about the schools, the churches, the hospitals, all the other nonprofit organizations, local government, etc., including all the local businesses. When your business, okay, is used, okay, it can be used, okay, to produce special benefit events at the store location. That's another advantage. Imagine everybody in the neighborhood, okay, whether it's a school or church. So you could be having fashion shows to support, okay, one event after another. Just like right now, okay, they have a sale, okay, every other day. And yet people still go to those sales events, okay. You wonder, you say, wait a minute, didn't we have 3 sales or 4 sales this week, okay, out of 7 days? So every day there's a particular sale. So every day you could be having, okay, another benefit event, okay, at that store location. So your store would be an entertainment magnet, and allows you to deepen your existing connections, okay, and relationships with all these other stakeholders in your community. As well, the local businesses in these malls would provide some of the needed services and support that these stores would require so that they can focus on what they do best, which is retail sales. Now, with respect to the shopping malls themselves, they will begin to, the shopping mall developers, to be more specific, they will begin to rethink the architecture of their malls. Think about that. They will want to convert them into mini family oriented entertainment theme parks or a place with a more festive atmosphere. So it's a place where the entire family could go at any time during the week or weekend. So it doesn't matter whether it's a daily or a big weekly Friday night fashion show. You could have maybe one major event, every week that people would know, or just a special fashion show benefit event, for example. It could be you'd have live daily shows, you'd have contests. You could even have contests there. Something in the order of a let's make a deal type thing that's sponsored by the existing mall retail stores. So we're talking about around the clock entertainment, that's available during the opening hours. So when people come from out of town, tourists, visitors, when they step into a mall, or when they want to know, hey, what's there for entertainment? Okay. They said, go to the mall. Now your mall becomes an entertainment center. So it's not just a place to watch the movies anymore. It's a place for real entertainment. So all of these events could also be promoted not only online on the shopping mall's website. They could also be promoted on various tourism websites for visitors, coming in to explore your community. People from out of town, from different countries, other states, even from within the state, people from the Northern California versus Southern California, and so on. So, regardless of who you are, and where you're from, access to wholesome, family oriented entertainment and shopping is only a few blocks, or miles away. So imagine you're sitting right there watching a fashion show, and then right then and there, you got your little laptop with you, or you got your little tablet with you, and all you have to do, if they don't have, which the store would provide anyway, secure tablet, that people could instantly go ahead and place an order, on impulse, while they're looking at those beautiful models, strutting their stuff, strutting with nice, beautiful clothes, and so on and so on. All right. What else? What else would they do, in these malls when they convert them to social experience centers? The shopping mall could, in fact, establish what we call telepresence centers. And those telepresence, if you don't know uh, what telepresence means, then just do a quick Google search, on that. Has to do a little bit more with virtual holographic type representation of yourself. But in any case, so shopping malls could establish telepresence centers that can be promoted and rented out to businesses who would like to hold hybrid virtual events at their location. For example, let's say that a particular business wanted to broadcast a high definition live virtual conference to about 100 people. in another location. So from our own telepresence location, for example, in city A, or any other telepresence location anywhere in the world, we could actually invite people to join us at a particular telepresence center in a particular mall. And so it doesn't matter where we at. And so we could actually address, okay, a particular audience live where they're seeing a holographic representation of us, where we are talking to about 100 people who are at a particular location, a telepresence center that is in a particular mall. So it doesn't matter where we at. So we could hold live virtual conferences, okay, to people anywhere, wherever that there is a telepresence location in a mall. That's another thing that you could do with respect to that you could put in place, okay, in those malls. As well, we could also invite people to join us, not just at one telepresence center. We could invite them to join us at many more. Let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 telepresence centers all at once. Go to the nearest telepresence center close in your neighborhood that's located in a shopping mall. And regardless of where we're at, we could go ahead, okay, and stream out, and have our presence be in all these 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 different locations at once. So from our vantage point, we would have a bird's eye view of the audience at all these participating telepresence locations and be able to effectively communicate and interact, okay, with all of them. So this is just from one business standpoint. So imagine turning these malls, okay, into providing that capability, or this mall providing the capability to businesses. That is awesome. So continuing with our shopping mall example, arrangement, for example, could be made, okay, with the local catering company in a mall, okay, to serve when we do, if, for example, other businesses want to hold an event there, they could go ahead and make an arrangement with the mall catering company, okay, so to serve all event attendees, followed by a fashion show at Saks Fifth Avenue, and then participation in a let's make a deal type show that's sponsored by several stores in the mall, dinner and drinks, okay, and live entertainment, okay, at a local restaurant, okay, or maybe a movie screening before retiring for the night, in maybe one or more limited group of bungalow suites, okay, in the mall. So the malls would have to be re-architected, okay, differently than the way they are right now. And the shopping malls could also contain what we call large virtual solarium courtyards. Basically, these courtyards, they are skylit, indoor and outdoor spaces, with retractable and adjustable roof that allows for various degrees of openness based on weather condition. So imagine you've got a mall, okay, they have a nice big cover that you can actually put a big cover on top of it. Okay? That's really what we're talking about. Skylit, but at the same time, okay, you have indoor, outdoor space, okay, with retractable an adjustable roof. So when it's raining, it doesn't mean that the party is over. Okay, the party is just beginning. And you could have in these virtual solarium courtyards large plasma 3D screens, large stage for entertainment and advertising related purposes. And think of a beautiful garden-like setting. And with respect to the landscape itself, okay, inside that solarium courtyard, imagine, okay, having the entire 360-degree chairs. So you can swivel your chair, okay, in whichever directions, and also having smart tables. That have, and even not just smart tables, you could also have soundproof, egg-shaped, enclosures. And they all provide, okay, free built-in access, okay, to not only to wired high speed, but also Wi-Fi internet access at ridiculous speeds. You're talking anywhere from 10 to 100 gigabits, per second. That's down the road, of course, but right now, okay, 1 gig, to start, that's doable. And in those malls, in that virtual solarium courtyard, you could also have small soundproof conference rooms with internet access, okay, that would be available on a first come, first served basis. And basically, all that a customer has to do is to go ahead and just bring their own laptop or PC tablet. Now, with respect to the hostesses, from all the various food and beverage and entertainment restaurants, okay, and the stores, they'd be able to know, okay, which smart table is occupied, and they can actually, they don't have to send a hostess to you. They can approach you virtually, directly from inside their own store, okay, via either text messages, a speakerphone, or video capability to go ahead and take your virtual order. And directly from your smartphone, then you could, or your PC, your tablet, your iPad, and you could go ahead and place your order. The whole works. And if there are any digital coupons, those participating store owners could automatically push those digital coupons to you, and without you even having to request it. No input or intervention, okay, on your part is necessary, or the hostess. If there are any digital coupon, they would automatically be offered to you once you place your order. All right, so all the stores, this is something that's a win-win for everyone. The small mall businesses, once you start to draw a lot of traffic in, it's new, exciting. You have tourists, people from all over. They're coming in for entertainment, much more traffic. So it helps the little smaller businesses in the mall. Now, what about the benefits of, for the shopping mall developers, owners? Same thing, a higher customer traffic and customer and store sales will translate into higher common area and per store revenues, okay, as well as new sources of revenues for those shopping mall owners. So that's my future. Just a snapshot, okay, of my vision of the future for retail department stores and shopping mall. But it also represents, okay, only a small grain of sand on a large beach, okay, of what is possible. And not only the near, but also the distant future. And what I am proposing is something that any store owner, any shopping mall developer can start working on, okay, immediately. There's nothing futuristic about anything, okay, that I've talked about so far. So it only takes a little vision and a little bit of imagination and a little bit of boldness, a little bit of willingness to step out of the box, okay? Step out of your comfort zone. So that's why I would suggest that at least, okay, have one prototype. You don't have to start building them all over the United States. Start with one prototype. You stand nothing to lose. All right. So that is my idea of the with respect to my vision of shopping malls. So let's go on to the next project. So we just went over project 13. The next project that I'd like to talk about is project number 33. Last week, we talked about the VOMI Global Think Tank and Advisory Board Global Ambassador Project, specifically the Distinguished Global Ambassador Project. So let me go ahead and refresh your memory for those who were there recently, and for those of you who haven't had a chance to view or to hear my previous presentation, let me give you a little that quick update. If you are currently a high-level executive in the corporate world, academia, government, a nonprofit, or NGO community, we invite you to join us on the Global Ambassadors Committee of UMI Global Think Tank and Advisory Board as a distinguished global ambassador. It's another way. We had a term for that before. Okay, we changed the name really from honorary global ambassador to distinguished global ambassador for a simple reason that we were asking distinguished individuals to join the Global Ambassadors Committee. So why not call them distinguished global ambassadors? As well, if your circle of influence, however, includes decision makers at some of the highest levels of business, government, and academia, people who would have a strong interest in the services of VOMI and our business partners, VOMI Virtual Organization Academy or Virtual Organization Recruiter, then I invite you to join us as a global ambassador. So the difference between the two is that the global ambassador is a more formal function than the distinguished ambassador, global ambassador, which is strictly an honorary position, appointment. Now, and also, let me add that you're free to switch between global ambassador and distinguished global ambassador at any time. That being said, why don't we spend a little bit of time going over the difference between the two? And basically, let me talk about the Global Ambassador Program. And what I mean by the Global Ambassador Program is a little bit more formal, you know. But the benefits are much more. So let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen with you. So let me go ahead and I'll be with you in 1 second. All right. In the interim, I hope you had a chance to take a look at the showcase and view a couple of artist videos, specifically my good friend Alasdair Urquhart and Mona Youssef. Nice little plug for. So why don't we go ahead and talk a little bit about the Global Ambassador Program. This is the Virtual Organization Recruiter, and the slide before that was VMI Virtual Organization Academy. Why a global ambassador? One of the things that we have experienced is that once people find out what we're doing, the very first thing that we hear from them is, wow, this is really exciting. We'd love to be involved. We'd love to be a part of what you're doing. However, we're not sure exactly how we can help, you know. So when we had set up the VMI Global Think Tank and Advisory Board, we invited them to participate. However, what we did find out is that, number one, being that the Think Tank Advisory Board is a virtual or operates strictly in a virtual environment, a lot of people were quickly taken aback because they didn't quite understand exactly how that was going to work. The first thing that they were thinking about was, when we invited them to participate on the Think Tank Advisory Board, is maybe we were going to have meetings, the sort of meetings that they are accustomed to. Maybe people were going to be meeting face to face and so on, but they weren't quite sure. So they were just open to, it was basically a knee-jerk reaction. It was, hey, we're excited, we love what you're doing, we'd like to participate, we want to contribute. And they weren't really thinking about the details. And for a lot of them, they know what an advisory board is, but they don't know exactly what a virtual advisory board does. So they were leaving it up to us, to provide them with some guidance, some information in terms of how that would work, and how they'd be able to contribute. So what normally happens is that initial amount of enthusiasm begins to quickly fade away, because for one reason or another, when we started to introduce the advisory board to them, that's when they found out, oh, okay, it is a little bit more complicated. It is a little bit more detailed, a little bit more involved than what we initially assumed. And they realized that it's not a Facebook type relationship. It's not a social network type relationship, and that it's a real advisory board. It's a bona fide advisory board. And that we were, in fact, willing, and we wanted to be able to compensate them. We wanted to make it worth their time. And but at the same time, we could not infringe on their current activities. So we decided, okay, let's go ahead and form a global ambassador program. But the sort of program, that is extremely flexible. The sort of program, that can go with the flow. The sort of program that would allow anyone to contribute whatever amount of time that they are able to contribute. A program that would allow them, that would free them from any restrictions in terms of time and effort, because that's important. And so we came up with this Global Ambassador Program. And what it does is exactly that. It is all inclusive, and it allows anyone and everyone who would like to contribute, would like to be a part of what we're doing, would like to be kept updated, who would just like to in whatever way, shape, or form, to go ahead and join us. But at the same time, you have to understand that there are some people, maybe they can only contribute 1 hour a week. And some people, maybe they cannot even guarantee you 1 hour a week. Maybe 1 week they may give you an hour, maybe the next 2 weeks, maybe they have absolutely no time at all. And maybe the following week, maybe they could give you 4 hours or maybe 8 hours. So we had to come up with a program that, as I said earlier, that would go with the flow. But not only it would go with the flow in terms of time and effort, okay, but it would also have to go with the flow in terms of compensation. Because one person may be willing, may want to contribute much more than the other person. So is there an equitable way to do that? And how do you do that? Do you do that on a per hour basis? Do you do that on a per contribution basis? And what are the benchmarks? How do you come up? How do you evaluate another board member's performance? And how do you make sure that it is equitable? How do you make sure that that you are upfront with everyone in terms of putting all your cards on the table and letting them know exactly how things work. If you do this, this is what you'll get. If you do that, okay, then this is what you get. If you give us 1 hour and and as well, and that is not, and it cannot be based on an hourly basis because we don't have employees. So we also have a lot of restrictions on our end. We cannot pay anyone on an hourly basis. We cannot pay anyone on a per meeting basis. So that's the whole idea behind the Global Ambassador Program, to be all-inclusive and at the same time to be fair. To be fair, someone wants to contribute a little more. If someone is able to pick up the phone, has a lot of connections and so on, they're able to say, John, I'm part of this. You don't even have to pick up the phone. Maybe if John contacts you, maybe in your daily routine, because we don't want all people to be out there to be salespeople. We're not looking for sales reps. We're not looking for. We're looking for supporters. We're looking for people who have a strong interest in what we're doing and who want to contribute. But we're not looking for salespeople. Not looking for sales executive. So that's very important as well. How do we keep this at the level that it's supposed to be? How do we maintain the prestige of the position? The prestige, how do we maintain the prestige of the individuals who want to contribute, without treating them like sales reps? So that was very important. So that's what the Global Ambassador Program is all about. So we had to come up with a formal agreement, as is the case, okay, with most board members in most large organizations. They have an advisory board agreement, and they also have a compensation structure in place as far as board members, but not necessarily for advisory board members. With respect to advisory board members, they offer them some sort of per diem when they meet and so on. So there is no one standard rule for that. And for those of you who belong to advisory boards and or just board of directors, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's what we had to do. That's what we had to come up with. a fair, equitable system, and something that did not diminish the prestige, okay, and the integrity and the level of respectability of any of the members who want to contribute in some fashion or another. Next, we have a focus as well on introducing those two entities that you just saw at the beginning of this presentation. And those two entities are VOMI Virtual Organization Academy and Virtual Organization Recruiter to business, governments, and academia. Because the services that these two entities provide, they are our business partners. The services that we provide, okay, that these entities provide, are essential. They are absolutely essential to spreading the gospel of virtual organizations and the virtual organization management discipline. So without these two entities, then we would be stuck in the dark ages, forever. Because these two entities are primarily designed to serve business, government, and academia. To introduce these sectors to the virtual organization management discipline, not VOMI. A VOMI is strictly a training organization for students, and they're not corporate. They're primarily secondary school students who are leaving government and independent students. So they have absolutely no bearing, no contacts, with corporate, government, and academia. So that's why. So we have those who want to be all-inclusive, who want to assist, who want to contribute, and we have a need to introduce these two business partners, these two separate entities, VOMI, Virtual Organization Academy, and Virtual Organization Recruiter, to business, governments, and academia. All right. So let's go over the Academy very quickly. Basically, VMI Virtual Organization Academy offers a virtual organization leadership, executive training, assessment, and certification to corporate executives, policymakers, government officials, military intelligence, defense personnel, researchers, and academics. It doesn't matter what industry, it doesn't matter what field that they're in, as long as they want to operate, they want to learn how to operate in a 100% virtual organization environment, then that's what we do. That's what we offer. It is more of an experiential training. So we call it a sabbatical program. So it's not your typical studying, courses, exam, and so on. It's not you're sitting on a bench, formal school training or online training. These executives who participate in this program, it's for a 90-day period of time, and they will be taught, to perform in accordance with a set of rigorous global minimum performance standard for virtual organization executives worldwide. At the end of the program, as I've said earlier, they will receive certification as a virtual organization executive. Now, let's talk about the other entity, Virtual Organization Recruiter. Virtual Organization Recruiter specializes in the assessment. So they provide virtual organization aptitude assessment, basically, to corporate, government, and academia. It doesn't matter what your field is, what your industry is. Again, it's the same thing. It's for people who will be working in, or people who will be managing and leading in a 100% virtual or virtual organization environment. It can be existing candidates who are applying for position, for virtual positions in your organizations, or it can be for assessing current employees that you have, that you are considering for virtual or virtual organization positions. So Virtual Organization Recruiter offers 3 core assessments. As Virtual Organization Aptitude Assessment, it basically is a 4-hour assessment, which consists of a virtual organization aptitude test for about 2 hours, and immediately followed by a 2-hour oral evaluation exam. So they're not only given an written exam with respect to the answers, then they have to explain their answers. So we'll select certain answers. So it's basically a foolproof aptitude assessment. You cannot copy the answers. You cannot cheat on that, because after you've answered something, you've said it's A, we're going to ask you to elaborate a little bit on A. So if you were guessing, you're going to be in a world of trouble. As to why a virtual organization aptitude assessment is required, that's another chapter. But the aptitude assessment that we provide, those 3 core assessments, any company that has ever hired someone and allowed them to work in a virtual environment can tell you that this is sorely needed, instead of the trial and error process that is currently in place. It's basically someone in the organization who says, hey, we want to work, let's try out one way, one method, and so on. That's it. So they know nothing at all about virtual organization. They know nothing about the virtual organization management discipline, and they're basically operating, flying by the seat of their pants. That's it. The other core assessment, that's a 5-day live virtual organization candidate assessment. Basically, that's primarily for personnel who will be working on long-term projects. So if you intend to have someone working on a long-term virtual project, being part of a virtual team, people who are working in a distributed environment or strictly in a virtual organization environment, global type project, more than 30 days, 4, 6 months, 9 months, even a year project, then it is essential that before you go ahead and put them on that team, that you assess them. And during a 5-day period, we'll tell you whether you've got a winner or whether you've got trouble in your hands. You'll notice that in assessment number 1 and assessment number 2, the only thing that we do is evaluate someone's capabilities. Whereas assessment number 3, if you intend to put someone in charge of a virtual division, virtual department, or virtual project where someone who's going to be in charge, someone who's going to be in a leadership position, then it's not a question of assessing anymore. You need to provide the necessary training in the virtual organization management discipline. You don't want to take their word for it because it can be very, very, very costly. So anyone who is going to be in a leadership position in a virtual organization environment, they must participate in this, or you will pay dearly. It will cost your organization millions of dollars. And in some cases, you'll never know that everything fell apart, because the person did not have the necessary training. In any case, so that's what the virtual organizational leadership executive training, assessment, and certification. So at the end of that 90-day, then they receive the virtual organization executive designation and so on. I know one thing that's probably coming to your mind right now is that, wait a minute, isn't that what VMI Virtual Organization Academy provides? You are exactly correct. That means you are paying attention. So when someone comes to Virtual Organization Recruiter, they say, we're looking for an executive, or we're going to be, we want to provide this sort of training to one of our executives, then although they pay Virtual Organization Recruiter, but Virtual Organization Recruiter sends them directly to VOMI Virtual Organization Academy. That's where the training is conducted. So now that we've taken the mystery out of that, these are the services that we're offering to the world, and we are the only organization in the world that offers that. There are a lot of consultants out there. They call themselves virtual consultants, virtual team consultants, virtual this, virtual that, or telework this, telework that, or remote worker this, remote worker that, and so on, remote consultant. But we're not in that league at all. We deal strictly with the virtual organization management discipline. Everything that we do is based on the virtual organization management discipline. And we are the founder of the virtual organization management discipline. All right, so why don't we talk about the specific global ambassador responsibilities? Advise and counsel, nothing as requested. If we have a question, we may request for your advice. But as well, you can take a proactive role it's up to you. If you'd like to advise and counsel us, since you already know, since now you know what we do. We're always open for advice. That's the whole purpose of having an advisory board. As well, we would like for you to evangelize. There's a big difference between evangelizing and selling. We don't want you to do any selling for us. We don't want you to schedule meetings and trying to arrange. Absolutely not. We don't want that. We don't want that sort of activity on your end. To make things very simple, it's as simple as saying, in terms of what you are trying to do, contact VOMI, contact Pierre Coupet, okay, and he will guide you. He will tell you exactly how to go about it. That's it. I know it sounds too damn simple, but it is. It is exactly that simple. There's no need for you to schedule a meeting. There's no need for you to talk about products, services. The information that I've just provided to you, this is for your own use. That's it. There is nothing that you need to do other than say there is the only organization, only credible organization in the world, the only organization in the world, okay, that has the pioneer of the virtual organization management discipline. These are the people that you need to talk to. Why don't you contact Pierre Coupet and let him know that his global ambassador, okay, referred you, a board member referred you. Board member John Doe, okay, has referred you. And that's it. If you are engaged in anything else, if you are just scheduling conferences and so on, that means you're doing too damn much. And we don't want you to. Would like for you to provide us with some valuable insight on what's happening around the world in terms of international relations. And also in terms of national security trends and issues. Because virtual organization recruiter, a lot of the government right now, we have cyber commands, cyber commands, various cyber commands here in the United States, but also a lot of other governments around the world are taking this virtual thing seriously now, the cyber security and so on. But it's not just cyber security, we're talking about cyber organization. You have to remember. They may have cyber teams, we may have cyber commands, but we don't know. That I can guarantee you. I can bet you every single penny that I've ever owned. The United States government, not just the United States government, but any other government anywhere in the world, and I can tell you that with absolute certainty, they don't know a damn thing about virtual organizations. And anybody who tells you any different doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. They probably don't know what the hell virtual organization means. They are mistaken. So there are a lot of things that we can do in that area that we can assist. And so this is the next step for them. Now we know how to break into networks and so on, but how do we set up virtual organizations? How do we virtualize some of our units, some divisions, and so on? That's our expertise. But it's more than that. And of course, we would like for you to represent the Global Ambassadors Committee, the VMI Virtual Organization Academy, and VOMI at local events in your respective country. So if you are asked to, for example, once people know what you do, because when your friend John Doe says, how's everything? Everything is wonderful. How are things today? It could be as simple as everything is going wonderful. I'm still at company XYZ, but I'm also a global ambassador on the Global Ambassadors Committee of VMI Global Think Tank and Advisory Board. If they don't bother to ask you any more questions, then you leave it at that. But if they say, well, what the hell is VMI Global Think Tank and Advisory Board? That sounds a little fancy schmancy there. then you can say VOMI is the founder, basically, of the modern pioneer of the virtual organization management discipline. When it comes to virtual organizations and the virtual organization management discipline, there's only one organization in the world. That's it. They are it. I'm very excited, to be part of that, that elite group of virtual organization executives around the world. Not that I am a virtual organization executive, I'm just very excited to be a part of what they're doing. Because we don't want you to misrepresent yourself as being a virtual organization executive, because you're not. And that's not what a global ambassador is about. We would also like for you to serve as a spokesperson for the Think Tank Advisory Board in your respective country when requested. If anyone had any questions regarding what are we doing, what exactly is, they'd like for you to come in. And so if you were requested to speak on that, okay, then, and we of course gave you the go ahead, you contact us, find out exactly what they want you to be the spokesperson about, okay, then we'd give you the go ahead. If you have any colleagues that you'd like to recommend, if there are any sponsors that you think would like to sponsor any of our events, such as, it's only one event, the CEO Summit, the annual CEO Summit. That's something that we would appreciate. So to identify potential new members and sponsors. And if we have a meeting, it's a meeting that's urgent, and I cannot think of one reason why, okay, we would require you to attend a meeting. But should that become necessary, then of course, okay, would make the request for you to attend the meeting. But if you don't attend the meeting, it doesn't mean that we would say you're fired. Again, as I've said earlier, as I stated earlier, we don't want to this position. It is designed to be highly flexible, super flexible, so that it does not interfere, okay, with your current activities. So we don't want to give you an excuse to say, wow, this is beginning to consume too much of my time. Between my family, my job, and so on, everything that I'm doing right now, you guys are making too much demand on my time. So I'm sorry, I'm going to have to bow out. I'm going to have to decline any further participation. So we don't want that. We don't want to put you in that situation, because we're not asking you to go meet with clients. We're not asking you to arrange high-level meetings and so on. We're just saying, just refer them to us. It's as simple as saying, contact Pierre, contact the chairman, and go from there. Tell them that board ambassador John Doe or Ambassador Jack Wigley referred you. And you contact him at chairman@virtualorganizationinstitute.com. That's it. Now, if you can't do that, if that's too much work for you, if that's too much of an effort to make, then obviously someone has been disingenuous at best. All right. Participate in high-level meetings and sensitive assignments in furtherance of the board's objectives on an ad hoc basis. Now, you'll notice that I have in parentheses subject to your availability. In other words, if we have if you come to us with a particular idea, so that's something that would come from you and not from us. And you say, hey, I have this, I've got a lot of free time, and I'd like to participate. I'd like to be part of this particular effort here. And it would be in furtherance of the board's objectives. And I'd like to participate in that. Okay. And I have the time. I'm willing to commit the necessary time and effort that's needed. Then, obviously, then we would ask you to participate, okay, in those high level meetings and sensitive assignments if necessary. But that is highly unlikely. It would be a long time before we get to that point where we would even allow you to participate in such activities. That's only after we've gotten to know you really, really well, okay, before we would allow you that to happen. All right. Now let's talk about compensation. I know that's a part that you were waiting to hear. So as I said earlier, how do we compensate someone, that technically speaking doesn't have to do anything at all, because it's really the ball is in your court as a global ambassador. If we never hear from you the entire year, guess what? That's fine. It's not a problem. So if you never refer anyone to us, that's not a problem either. Why? Because it is your loss, really. Because the compensation is based on the value of any revenue opportunities that's come to us as a result of your referral, of one or more of your referrals. So if you said to us, and the referral, we're not talking about you negotiating, participating in negotiation. I know I've stated that before, but I want it to be very clear. I want to pound that in your brain to make sure that it is very clear. It is as simple as a referral, or for you to email your colleague and say, John, based on our conversation, here is Pierre Coupe's telephone number. That's it. We don't want anything else. If you say, well, I got to get on a plane to go meet with so and so, I got to go spend $200 for dinner and so on, go wine and dine, I'm going to say, forget it. Don't bother. We don't want you to be engaged in those type of activities. But if you say you're going to be at location XYZ, you're going to be meeting a lot of people, and you'll have an opportunity to talk to mention, to give us a little plug, to give the VMI a bit of plug. These are people who have a need, but also it's very important. It has to be people who have, that you have determined based on your knowledge, because they're part of your circle of influence, and you know that what we'll provide is something that they would absolutely have a need, that something that would be of great interest to them. So we're not talking about you engaging in email campaigns, trying to send out 10,000 emails, okay, trying to get people trying to sell our services. That's not what we want. That's beneath the dignity, okay, of the global ambassador position. We cannot, because it's a dirty job. It's just, that's not what the job is about. Period. That's it. So You can speak at an event if you're invited to an event, or if they know you are our global ambassador, someone knows, they invite you to talk about the virtual organization and so on, virtual organization. Maybe they have a chance to give us a plug, by all means. If you can put that on your resume, you can put that on your profile, your business, your executive profile, and so on. Yes, anywhere that you find appropriate, tasteful, to let people know about your connection, to establish your connection with us, with VOMI, and what we're doing. Any way that you can express your support for what we're doing that is appropriate. Okay. So that's what we're talking about. And the compensation, the Think Tank Advisory Board agreement that we have spells out exactly what the exact revenue is, the computation, okay, of the compensation, of the ad hoc cash compensation based on the value of the revenue opportunities that have been brought to us as a result of your effort. But in addition to this ad hoc cash compensation, so it's spelled out clearly, each global ambassador during the first 3 consecutive years. After that, okay, it's no longer available. So I want to emphasize that. Each global ambassador will be eligible to receive up to 100,000 performance share units over a consecutive 3-year period, subject to meeting all the award requirements. And the award requirements are very specific, and they're spelled out in detail in the agreement, advisory board, global ambassador advisory board agreement. And again, it's based on performance. That's why we call it performance share units. So let's quickly go over the highlights of the global ambassador position. But if you don't come across, if you are not in that circle of people, executives from government, business, academia, people who are involved in public policy, and so on. If you don't have that kind of circle, if you are not in that type of circle, then we also welcome you. You can remain a global ambassador. You can join us as a global ambassador if you wish. You never know, you may come across. You may eventually. So that's fine as well. Just in case, you do come across, you have a chance, an opportunity to introduce someone to us, then that way the agreement is in place and it can cover you. Then you can be compensated for such referral. So let's go over the highlights of the global ambassador position. It's a prestigious lifetime appointment. Unlike all the other positions on the advisory board. The other positions on the advisory board, and they are term positions, 6 months, a year, 2 years, and so on. And you have to be elected, and they are subject to election, not the global ambassador position. It is a prestigious lifetime appointment on the Global Ambassadors Committee of the Global Think Tank Advisory Board. And we seek a maximum of 5 global ambassadors per country. Once we have 5 global ambassadors in a particular country, then that's the limit. All other applicants, all other candidates, okay, would have to go on a waiting list until someone decides to leave. But if we see, for example, that we have one global ambassador who's been there for a year, 2 years, okay, and there's been no action on their end, and we have a newcomer, a new applicant, then we may request such global ambassador. We may reassign them to distinguished global ambassador status. So, and we'll talk about that in a second. So, maximum of 5. We want to make sure that we don't have that we don't make a joke, or a comedy out of this, by appointing 1,000 global ambassadors in one country. So, it's extremely important that we limit the numbers. Another highlight is that, as I mentioned earlier, your focus will be strictly on the introduction of Virtual Organization Recruiter and VMI Virtual Organization Academy to business, governments, and academia. But indirectly, so that's the key word. Focus on introduction of Virtual Organization Recruiter and VMI Virtual Organization Academy indirectly, because you're not going to be talking about what Virtual Organization Recruiter does. You're not going to be talking about core assessments that Virtual Organization Recruiter provides, and you're not going to be talking to anyone about what VMI Virtual Organization Academy does in detail. What the training consists of, and so on. So that would be your focus on the introduction of those 2 entities, because that's what the Global Ambassador position is all about, to introduce the virtual organization management discipline and virtual organizations to businesses, government, and academia worldwide. We would also like for you to serve as a spokesperson of the Think Tank Advisory Board in your country. So that means, in order for you, for example, to be a global ambassador for Greece, that means you have to be currently residing in Greece. You can't be living in the United States of America or any other country, or just because Greece is your native country, and feel that you want to represent Greece. Even if Greece is your native country, if you are here in the United States, then you can only be considered for a global ambassador position in the United States, be one of 5. And that's the only way that you can effectively represent, be a spokesperson for us in your country of residence, by being there. Because you will not be operating in, you're not restricted to operating strictly in a virtual organization environment. We will not be teaching you You will not be provided with any training, with any virtual organization management training at all. All right. And the final highlight of the global ambassador position is the ad hoc cash compensation that I just referred to earlier. That's based on the value of tangible revenue opportunities, plus the VOMI equity grants of 100,000 performance share units during the first 3 consecutive years. If you wait till the 4th year or the 5th year to start referring, by that time you will no longer be eligible for performance share units. So during the first year, you'll be eligible for 30-something thousand, 30,000 performance share unit. Second year, 30,000, and third year, 40,000. And that's the maximum of 100,000 performance share units. With respect to the global ambassador qualification requirements, we talked about that earlier. If you are a high-level executive from corporate government, the military, intelligence, defense community, law enforcement, and academia, then you qualify automatically. And even if you are not a high-level executive from corporate government, military, intelligence, defense community, law enforcement, or academia, if you are part of a circle, if you have strong ties to executives in that group, if they are part of your circle of influence, so if you have strong ties to executives, meaning decision makers, okay, at global enterprises, governments, okay, and in academia, then by all means, that's the qualification requirements. And we do have a lot of information regarding more detailed information. But the first step is to apply to become a global ambassador, and then, of course, all this other good stuff. So all you have to do is, for those of you who are now watching, it's as simple as sending an email to chairman@virtualorganizationinstitute.com, and then we'll take it from there. We'll send you all the materials and information that you need to make an informed decision. And that's about that. And so that concludes today's presentation in terms of the sort of projects that we are engaged in. Well, let me backtrack a bit. There is one item that's missing: the difference between the global ambassador and the distinguished global ambassador. The distinguished global ambassador is anyone who would like to support us, anyone who would like to. None of what I've just mentioned earlier applies to you. We'll basically inform you on a monthly basis of our activities, and one of the benefits is that you can list your association with us in your executive profile, on your resume, on social networks, and we'll also list your profile on our website, and that is basically that. So we'll send you out invitation to our events, and we'll keep you updated on our activities, what we're doing, and information that you can share with your colleagues, okay, with your friends or with your employer or whomever that you may want to share that information with. And that's about that. So to be a distinguished ambassador is someone who, and there are quite a few, said they said we just don't have the sort of connections, okay, that that you need. We don't know the decision makers. I may have a PhD. I may be at. You don't have to be a PhD, by the way. I may be at University XYZ. I may be the head of the dean, the head of a department, but they're not. That sort of training, okay, is not what we're providing, and I wouldn't dare introduce that to to the university. So, in any case, so there are a lot of people, who want to support us, and but it's more in a thumbs up way, and we acknowledge them, and we want to acknowledge them by uh, giving them the authorization to reflect their association with us, okay, by having them on our website and by uh, giving them authorization to include their association with us in their profile and on various social network and on their resumes and so on. So that's about that. I want to thank you for showing up today. Again, you are free to view some of our artist contributions. We have we have quite a number of awesome, awesome artist videos on the right side of your screen in the showcase, and help yourself to some of them. That's I'm basically featuring two artists this time. That's Mona Youssef. She is just awesome, and my good friend Alasdair Urquhart, Scottish artist, with very beautiful work. Okay, so no need for me to say anything else because you have your own eyes. You can see for yourself. The videos will speak for themselves. And we wish you all safe and awesome next week. And I look forward to your participation at next week's event. And please, next week, okay, we're expecting a full lineup. If not a full lineup, at least, okay, it won't just be me talking away, putting you to sleep. You'll have others, okay, to share. And you are welcome to come in and share with us, okay, what you're doing. Don't be shy. Don't be bashful. This platform is for you, and it's for everyone. You don't have to be a movie star. You don't have to be a superstar. You don't have to be a guru. You don't have to be. You don't have to be some genius. I'm sure there's something going on that you'd like to talk about. And all you have to do is to formally request to be a guest, either via email to chairman@virtualorganizationinstitute.com. Once you contact us, then the rest will take care of itself. We'll send you all the information you need in order to get you to participate, actively participate, instead of just being a passive participant, and to go to the guest registration process. All right. So keep in mind, you don't have to be part of the in crowd. You don't have to be a guru. Join us, be a guest or co-host. If you want to be a co-host, I would welcome that, as well. So take good care.